Today we're taking this prism mirror from dated to dramatic. Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. You're watching the Last Thing Thrifted collaboration, and I'm joining my lovely friends, Marika of Marika's Creations, Shelly of Repurpose My Way, Dawn of Shabby Meets Bling, Jody of Jody at Southern Seasons, Annie of Crafting with Indiana Jones, and Zana of OK at Home DIY. All of these ladies are amazingly talented, so please be sure to check out their channels as well as the playlist. You'll find links for both in the description box. Now, let's get into it. My husband brought me this lovely prism mirror. I love it the way it is, but the blue does not go with my current decor, so we're going to give this a refresh and an update. I intended to take the doors off, but as you can see right here, the hinges that are holding the doors on have been painted, and the screws are really small, so I was afraid that if I attempted to remove them, I might strip the screws, so we're just going to work around that. No biggie. The paint is very chippy, very distressed, and very slapdash, which I love personally. It's just that the color, well, that's not really doing it for me. Well, I do like it. Like I said, it just doesn't fit what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because this piece is so big, it's like 3 foot tall by 2.5 wide, little more than that. The angles are going to be a little weird. I'm working in a rather tight space here, so, just give me some grace, okay? So the first thing that needs to be done is I'm going to need to clean this really well. Part of my general cleaning equipment, I have this little angled paintbrush, and I use this to clean small, ornate, hard to reach spots. So I'm going to get into the flowery, scrolly parts of this mirror with my paintbrush and just knock off any dust that may still be trapped in there. We've already taken the shop vac to this, which got most of the loose stuff off, but there's always something left behind. Now we're going to wipe the entire thing down with some hot water and a little bit of Dawn dish soap to remove any of the surface dirt. Surprisingly, this wasn't that bad. Some of the paint chips came loose, so I'm just going to grab my dustbuster and clean those up. Dustbuster. Yeah, there's a blast from the past. Right, my Gen X friends? I guess they're called hand vacs now. Same diff. A little bit of Windex goes a long way. I'm going to clean off this mirror. There's a wee bit of the blue paint up under that cornice piece, so I'm going to wipe that off. It actually came right off with the Windex. No worries. This mirror goes up under that little ornate cornice piece. To protect the mirror from the paint, I'm going to slide a piece of paper up into that area. This is from one of my oversized sketchbooks. We're also going to use some painter's tape to protect the ornate parts and the bars on the doors because I want to keep those that color, at least for the moment. Now that I've got these covered, we can start painting. I'm going to be using a charcoal colored chalk paint, and I'm going to start on the inside of the doors. That's the smallest area, so we're going to take care of that first. I've had this can of Home Depot Behr chalk paint for quite some time, so I made sure that I really mixed it well before I started painting. I'm going to continue right along with that slapdash painted theme here because I really like the way that looked, and I do want some of that original color, so I think maybe I'll let a little of it peek through, just a wee bit. It does have a kind of gray-blue quality, so I think with the charcoal on top of it, it won't look so much blue. If some of it does peek through, it'll come through more of a lighter gray. You know what I'm saying? I can see from the looks of this already that I'm probably only going to need the one coat of paint, especially since I'm going to be doing some distressing of my own. Another really good thing about using chalk paint for this is that it dries so quickly. So by the time I finished that little edge around the cornice piece, that's what we're calling it, the doors were dry, and I was able to shut them and work on the front portion of the doors. I don't know, maybe valance, but I'm calling it a cornice. That's how we're rolling. And the painting portion of this went really quickly. I did this in under an hour, and I was faffing about too. Getting some tea, pottering about the house. So it did go quickly. I decided to paint those white inset bits with the charcoal. I thought that would look better than leaving them white. I'm going to come back and wet distress it later. So some of that white will kind of peek out for a wee hint of it. So I just kept going in this fashion until the entire surface was painted, and I made sure to do the sides as well. Most of the time when I'm working on these bigger projects, I don't bother to film it because it's so hard for me to get a good angle with my camera. That's why you're seeing all these crazy angles here. Anywho, we're going to keep painting. I wasn't really sure how I felt about these little flower dingles here, but I thought, well, we'll just freehand this. If the charcoal paint goes into them, maybe we'll leave it. I could always come back and touch them up if I needed to. But as I was painting it, because they're so concave, they stayed their true color. So we're just going to go with that. We're going to finish up the painting, and then we're going to do a little distressing. I really like the way this looks, but I do want to wet distress a little, just to take the edges down and maybe knock some color off in, various spots. So I just dampened the paper towel, and I'm just going to rub away that chalk paint. I'm doing this really lightly, so mostly around the edges, the odd spot here and there, wherever it struck me. And since I've been on this rustic kick lately, I'm pulling out my JoSonja Fruitwood gel stain. I'm going to apply this stain to the white parts first. Get an idea of how dark I want them to be. I'll put it on and wipe it back. And then I'm also going to do the entire surface as well. Give it an overall vintage feel. I'm just using a regular old paper towel here. Wipe this back. We'll get some on the door. Add some richness and depth to that. There's already a light antiquing medium on this off-white part, but I felt it needed to be darker to go with the charcoal. You know what I'm saying? I did my best to get into all the grooves, but again, there's already that pre-existing antiquing medium, and this stain really took to the wood. It was really nice to work with. For the most part, I only did the one coat of staining. There were a couple areas on the lighter parts that I went over twice, but for the most part, it was just one. I gotta say, I was really surprised how heavy this piece was. I don't know. It looked to me like it would be light for some reason, but there's some weight to it. Once I was done all the staining and I was happy with the way it looked, I let this sit for about an hour to dry. I'm going to come in with some of my Jolie Black Wax, and I'm going to focus first on the scrolly flowery bits. Wax on, wax off. I really love the way this black wax took this down a notch and added some depth to it. I really worked this into every little crevice. This is such a pretty piece. I love this mirror. I love all the scroll work. I don't know, I just like the old world feel to it. Let me know what you think, if you like this kind of stuff. I generally don't do a whole lot of ornate, but there was just something about this. Alright, I want to get into these bars here and really kind of grunge those up. This was so quick and really such a pleasure to do. I really enjoyed this project. Now I'm going to come in and use the black wax on the charcoal surface too. I like that it's adding depth to the color, and also because this is chalk paint, of course you need some kind of top coat, and generally most people use wax. I don't have a clear wax. Oh, actually, I do have some, what do you call it, beeswax, but that's more liquidy, so I was enjoying this black wax. And again, I really like the depth of color it's adding, so we're just going to go with that. And once I got it completely waxed, I came back and buffed all that wax. I made sure that it was really well rubbed in and make sure that the wood was really well covered. Because I really want to be sure that when I'm cleaning this on the regular and I'm damp wiping it, I'm not taking any paint off. And that's pretty much it for this project. I took that paper out and I cleaned the mirror again, and she's good to go. Here's what she looked like when we started out. Pretty, but it was definitely missing something. It was a little twee for me. And there she is, all finished. I love it. I think it's so elegant. Turned out really nice. I'm really loving this piece. Let me know what you think. I want to thank Dawn, Shelly, Jody, Annie, Zana, and Marika for including me. Please be sure to check out their channels. Like I said, they'll be linked in the description box, along with the supplies that I used. Let's take a look at the ornate parts of this mirror. You can see the mirror underneath that top cornice part above the doors. Yeah, that mirror is kind of hard to clean. So I got to figure out how I can get in there. Maybe, I don't know, Q-tips or something. If you have any suggestions on how to clean that mirror beneath the ornate scroll, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. I'm loving the old vintage European charm of this. And those flowers, they look 100% better, I think. Loving that scroll work. Just beautiful. I hope you enjoyed today's project. I'll be back next week with a Valentine's clay piece, just for fun. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Marika.